This month, Life Insurance Strategies Group is in Puebla, Mexico. And today we're in the Zocalo district in the historic center of Puebla. And I've been thinking a lot recently about counterparties. So the counterparties to a lot of the insurance transactions that our clients get involved with. And even more specifically, let's think about private placement life insurance. So when a client is in the process of buying private placement life insurance, there's a lot of counterparties in the transaction. You've got the broker, the life insurance company, the investment manager, you've got their attorney, and you've got their fund administrator in the process. Now that's a lot of folks to pull together and to make sure that you have very good service at reasonable prices. So let's talk about for a minute about what we look for at Life Insurance Strategies Group in any of those counterparties. So let's start first with the client's attorney. Now they're obviously, we're hopeful that they have an estate attorney that they've been with for a very long time. That's optimal. I mean, obviously this is a wealth transfer situation when you're using private placement life insurance for the most part, and so having it included as part of your estate planning is essential. So having that attorney that's been a part of working with your family for many years would be optimal. Other than that, working with an estate planning attorney who perhaps has some experience with private placement life insurance or just life insurance in general, and obviously trust planning is key. And let's talk about the broker. Now, there aren't a lot of brokers that are proficient in the private placement space. There's not a whole lot that have the experience that we look for among the brokers, and that's having done it probably at least 20 private placement life insurance cases. And so if you think about that, I bet in the United States there's probably less than 25 brokers who have done 20 or more PPLI cases in their career. So that experience is key. And obviously we want them to have a good relationship with you, because this is going to be a relationship that the policyholder has for 30, 40, 50 years into another generation. And so that other generation brings up another thing we look for with a broker, which is obviously their own succession plan. And we've talked about this before. So we don't want our clients to work with a shop that just has a single broker. We want them to work with a broker that has an apparent succession plan or a documented succession plan. So an apparent succession plan is when there are shareholders, at least two shareholders, 15 years in age apart. And then obviously a documented succession plan talks about what happens in the case of the death of a shareholder. And obviously here we're looking for multiple shareholders. So that's the broker. Next, we want to think about the investment manager. And this is somebody that we want to have a lot of experience in the investment space. So not only would they have a lot of assets under management, so probably at least $500 million under management, if not more. They're people that probably have some familiarity with insurance planning. That's not a no-go if they don't. But again, having that kind of expertise in the insurance space with the things that go into private placement would be key. So alternative investments, real estate, oil and gas, all these things that people look for that are highly tax inefficient that go into a policy. And now let's talk about that insurance carrier, because there's probably 9 or 10 life insurance companies that do private placement life insurance. Some are domestic companies in the United States. Some are offshore in places like Barbados, Bermuda, Cayman, Puerto Rico, which we've talked about before. Puerto Rico is offshore to the U.S. So that, choosing a carrier, it's not as tough as you think, because depending on a client's situation, there's probably going to be only maybe 2 or 3 carriers that fit their situation. And that's because carriers in the private placement life insurance space have done a great job of staying out of the way of one another. So again, having a carrier that has done private placement, do a great deal, but obviously has good insurance pricing is key. And then finally, let's talk about that fund administrator. So the fund administrator here is that party that goes between the life insurance company and the investment manager. Typically, that fund administrator is going to serve the role as the investment manager to the carrier, with the client's investment manager being the sub-advisor. The role of that administrator is to attest that there's been no investor control violations. Every quarter they have to attest to this, and that there's been proper diversification in the policy. You can't say how important that is. So finding a fund administrator that can not only help onboard the investment manager, but also stick to these quarterly attestations that are so necessary in private placement is key. And then obviously their fee components are also key. So these are the things to look for with a lot of these parties in private placement. And if we can be of service, remember, we don't sell products at Life Insurance Strategies Group. We help our affluent clients and companies make decisions regarding complex life insurance transactions. So reach out to us at lifeinsurancestrategiesgroup.com.